This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. ARRL Great Lakes Director Scott Yonley, N8SY, recently presented the Mionic Valley Amateur Radio Association with a prestigious award from the ARRL for being a club member of the ARRL for over 100 years. The club is 106 years old. Congratulations on a fine, long-lasting club. Are you looking to study for your technician class license? Well, starting on Thursday, September 4th, running through October 16th for a total of 7 sessions, the Amateur Radio Club of the National Electronics Museum will be holding a free weekly live technician class licensing course over Zoom at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The 3-hour sessions will be recorded so you can go back and rewatch areas of special interest. To sign up for this free technician class licensing course, email Rolanders at roland.anders@comcast.net. On August 15th, Diana Mishka, K4IRU, became a silent key. She was an active participant in the Kentucky phone net. Her signals are greatly missed. The Kansas City Wide Wires X network has changed over from the Ham Shack Hotline network to Ham's Over IP network. To connect the Kansas City Wide network, dial 15135 on your Ham's Over IP network phone. Operation is the same. Press star 99 to transmit and the pound key to unkey the transmitter. To learn all about the ways to connect to the Kansas City Wide network, go to kansascityroom-wide.com. Volunteers are also needed to sign up before August 31st for the Air Force Marathon to be held on September 30th. If you're interested in signing up, please contact Bob, N8ADO, at n8ado.bob@gmail.com. Amateur radio volunteers are needed for the annual Limestone Bicycle Tour in Maysville, Kentucky on September 6th, starting at 7 a.m. They provide essential communications for the 20, 40, 60, and 100-mile bicycle tour, which travels around Maysville, Kentucky and the surrounding counties in the area. To sign up and for more information, please contact Mike Mullins, KN4COE, at kn4coe@gmail.com. Amateur radio operator volunteers are needed on September 6th for this Young's Charity Bike Ride. This relatively large event has a good number of participants and covers a large geographical area, so many hams are needed. The start and finish is at Young's Dairy Bar north of Yellow Springs, Ohio. The event starts at 8 a.m. and usually finishes up by 5 p.m. For more information or to volunteer, email Bob, N8ADO, at n8ado.bob@gmail.com. If you're interested in challenges, there's a neat event coming up on August 30th from the Maritime Radio Historical Society called Crypto Transmission from KPH, scheduled at 2000 hours UTC on August 30th. The event will send a German Enigma coded message using Morse code via the KPH Coast radio station on 6 non-amateur radio frequencies. The message will be rebroadcast 15 minutes later using 45 baud RTTY on 3 different frequencies. Listeners can try their hand at receiving and decrypting the message. Certificates will be awarded for successful decodes, but there is a 48-hour time limit from the start of the transmissions to submit your entries by email. For full information on this historic event, go to radiomarine.org/MRHS-events. If you're interested in All-Star, the Board of Directors are soliciting volunteers and donors to keep the All-Star Link network going. The phenomenal growth in the last 4 years has went from 2,000 nodes online to over 10,000 nodes online. They ask that everyone who will use the All-Star Link network consider a voluntary donation of $12 a year to help keep the system going. You can visit allstarlink.org/about/donate to make a donation. On August 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Flat Run Veterans Park at 364 Oddville Avenue in Cincinnati, Kentucky, the Harrison County Amateur Radio Club will be having a Go Box display with numerous Go Box configurations. Everyone's invited, so come on down. August 23rd is the Ohio QSO Party, starting at noon and running until midnight. The object of the event is for Ohio amateur radio operators to celebrate the great state of Ohio by activating an amateur radio operation in each of the 88 Ohio counties. Last year, all 88 counties were represented in the event. For more information, go to ohqp.org. September is National Preparedness Month, so to prepare yourself on August 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, tune into the ARRL live chat with the ARRL Education and Learning Specialist Wayne Green, KB4DSF, who will cover how the Federal Emergency Management Agency, known as FEMA, and other organizations encourage everyone to be prepared for emergencies and disasters of all sizes and things that you can do to become prepared. ARRL members can register for the event by going to tinyurl.com/3ZJA8FRX. On September 6th, the Okayan Amateur Radio Society is looking for ham radio volunteers to man the booth at the Harvest Home Fair, one of the main Okayan fundraisers. If you can help out, contact Rocky, KE8DZS. On September 6th, the Okayan Amateur Radio Society will once again set up at the Cincinnati Museum Center from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the 1940s Day. If you can volunteer to help out at this event, contact George, N3VQW. September 6th is the Ohio State Parks on the Air event, and the Okayan Amateur Radio Society is planning on participating in this event. If you're interested in it, contact Chessie, KD8OOB. On September 6th, the Route 66 special event will initiate their 26th anniversary of the event, which will run through September 14th. The event commemorates the history of the Mother Road connecting east and west areas of the United States from Illinois to California. W6A through W6V will be active with 22 stations participating using these call signs. Each station will post their own station schedule. A certificate and a decal is available. For more information on the event, go to W6JBT.org. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will hold their annual family picnic on September 8th at the Shiloh Park, Shelter Number 2. A Parks on the Air meetup is planned for September 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at the Paintsville Lake State Park, US 1270. Get ready for the Simulated Emergency Test, or SET, on October 4th and 5th, where ARES, an emergency communications group, will demonstrate their abilities to provide communications to the served agencies. Time now for your group to start planning on their participation in the SET event. For more information, go to ARRL.org/simulated-emergency-test. The Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will be conducting live online classes to get your technician license. The class will be held via Zoom and run for 6 weeks from Sunday, October 5th through November 9th. Sessions are from 1:30 to 4 p.m. All ages are welcome. For more information and or to register, visit tiny.cc/BEAHAM.
Repeater news.
Currently, the 6-meter repeater in Walton, Kentucky on 53.85 is experiencing a problem where it's not passing audio. KG4MVN is working on correcting this. Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Hamfest.
August 30th is the Athens Trunk Fest at the Athens Masonic Lodge, 12 West Carpenter Street in Athens, Ohio. On Saturday, September 6th is the Greater Louisville Hamfest 2025 at the Parquet Springs Conference Center, 395 Parquet Springs Drive in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. This year will be free admission for anyone under 16 years of age. Also, scouts and scout leaders in uniform can get free admission as well. Exciting forums on POTA, digital networking, and the ARRL. Major prizes include a Yaesu FT891 and an MFJ 1536 tri-band pulsar antenna, as well as many others. QLF contest is back again this year, and they'll be awarding the Kentucky Amateur of the Year Award. For more information or to purchase your ticket, go to LouisvilleHamfest.com. September 7th is the Findlay, Ohio Ham Fest at the Hancock County Fairgrounds, 1017 East Sandusky Street in Findlay, Ohio. On September 13th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. is Richmond, Kentucky Ham Fest at the Madison County Fairgrounds, 3237 Old Irwin Road in Richmond, Kentucky. September 13th is a Swap Meet Ham Fest at the Merchants Landing Bingo Hall, 6182 Summit Street in Toledo, Ohio. For more information, go to lucasARES.org. On September 17th is a Paintsville, Kentucky Ham Fest at the Paintsville Recreation Center, 232 Preston Street in Paintsville, Kentucky. For more information, go to ky4arc.com. On September 28th is the 51st Annual Cleveland Ham Fest and Computer Show at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds, 162 Eastland Road in Berea, Ohio. For more information, go to hac.org. October 4th is the DX Workshop Operating Specialty Convention from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time in the Warren County Public Library, Bob Kirby Branch, 175 Iron Skillet Court in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Talk in on the 444.300 repeater with a PL tone of 179.9. For more information, visit wkdxa.org/events. October 25th is the Hazard, Kentucky Ham Fest at 1700 North Main Street in Hazard, Kentucky. For more information, contact Johnny, KY4JLB at JLB741@yahoo.com. On November 8th, the Grant Amateur Radio Club will once again hold the famous Georgetown Ham Fest at the ABCAP building, 406 West Plum Street in Georgetown, Ohio. Lots of door prizes will be given away. An amateur radio exam session will be held by the Highland Amateur Radio Association. Talking on the 146.73 repeater with a PL tone of 162.2. For more information, contact Ken, KD8FKU at KD8FKU@gmail.com.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On September 6th at 10 a.m., the Crooked River Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio license exam session at the Oak Hill Presbyterian Church, 2403 Ardwell Avenue in Akron, Ohio. You must pre-register by calling N80QP at 330-786-8088. On September 10th, the Dial Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at 3806 Manchester Road in Middletown, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org. On September 13th, the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On September 15th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions/NKY-VE. On October 2nd, the Laughlin Valley Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Dearborn County Emergency Management Office, 401 West High Street in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Register at hamstudy.org/sessions. For more information, email Dan at ke9aks@lvarc.net. On October the 9th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing k8weh@k8weh@awrl.net or on the k8ge.net website. On October 11th at 10 a.m., the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department, Georgetown, Kentucky. On October 20th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions/NKY-VE. On October 25th at 10 a.m., the Wilderness Road Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio exam session at the American Legion, Post 46 in Danville, Kentucky. On October 28th at 6 p.m., the K4TG VE team will host an amateur radio exam session at the Anderson County Extension Building. Use the rear entrance in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. On November the 8th at 10 a.m., the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio exam session at the Red Cross Building in Lexington, Kentucky. On December 11th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing k8weh@awrl.net or on the k8ge.net website. On December 13th, the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department in Georgetown, Kentucky. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: WB8VNH, KY6MM, AC8MA, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.